Which three programs are you looking at to be the most improved in 2024? And we'll start with Ohio State, because Ohio State was 11-2, and you're probably going, okay, you just said Ole Miss was a double-digit win team, and so they don't have the room to jump. Ohio State does, and here's why. Ohio State was 11-2 last year. But what if Ohio State had been in the new Big Ten last year? Now, when we show you their schedule, I'd say Ohio State actually got a pretty good end of the stick in terms of the new Big Ten schedule. But it's not going to be like that every year. So just in a random year of the new Big Ten, if Ohio State had been in there with Oregon, Washington, UCLA, and USC in the mix, would the 2023 Buckeyes have been an 11-2 team? I'm not sure they would have. I think this is a team that benefited from having basically a 3-game schedule of Notre Dame, Penn State, and Michigan. And they lost one of those. So what makes it different this year? Well, a lot of stuff. I'll start with the part that is not going to get talked about as much, because Bill O'Brien getting hired as the offensive coordinator got all the headlines. Will Howard coming as a transfer. All the transfers they got, Caleb Downs, Quinshon Judkins, all of those got the big headlines. What sort of went under the radar, JT Tuimoloau coming back, Jack Sawyer coming back, Lathan Ransom coming back. A veteran defense. This was a really good defense last year. Like, their offense was the problem at Ohio State last year. Veteran defense, most of which is coming back. It is very similar to a lot of the Michigan guys saying, we did not like the way our season ended when we lost to TCU in the Fiesta Bowl. We're coming back for one more shot. And that is what this feels like in terms of how veteran heavy they are on defense. Now you add in Caleb Downs, the transfer from Alabama, who is going to be an All-America safety. And what that does is it allows you to move Sonny Styles to linebacker, which is where he should probably be playing based on his size. All of a sudden, you're an even more versatile defense. Like, Jim Knowles has so much to play with this year. Now, the offense has to be better. The offensive line has to be better. So far, they got Seth McLaughlin from Alabama, who was the center, and everybody remembers what happened in the Rose Bowl. Now, if Seth McLaughlin still has some issues snapping, you can play him at guard and you will have a really effective guard, because no one ever had any qualms about Seth McLaughlin's blocking. So O-line should be better, had better be better. That's one of the problems at Ohio State. And Will Howard is an upgrade over Kyle McCord at quarterback. I get that people from the Big Ten, from the SEC, don't respect the Big 12. I'm telling you right now, Will Howard is an excellent quarterback. The competition in the Big 12 is good. He led Kansas State to a Big 12 title in 2022. He has not had this level of talent around him. So much more talent at Ohio State than he had. Then you add in the Bill O'Brien aspect of it. Ryan Day stepping back, not trying to do 90 things at once. Bill O'Brien, he's a punching bag because the New England Patriots offense sucked this year. Well, guess what didn't suck? Alabama's offense, the 2 years that he was the offensive coordinator. The Texans offense, most of the years he was the head coach. The Penn State offense when he was the head coach there. So they're going to upgrade offensively. And then when we look at Ohio State's schedule, I know I just said if they'd been in the new Big Ten last year, maybe they don't win as many games. This is a harder schedule than last year, but as the new Big Ten goes, it's not bad. It really isn't. You're going to get Iowa, and we'll see. I think Iowa should be a little bit better, especially at that point in the season. You know, they're getting Cade McNamara back. We'll see what happens with their OC situation. They're at Oregon in October. That's a very tough one. They're at Penn State. Then they got Michigan. They don't have a Notre Dame type out-of-conference game this year. So Ohio State, of the teams in the Big Ten that are going to be competitive, has probably the easiest schedule. So this is a team that should be 10-1 going to the Michigan game, or 11-0. Like that, they should be. And then win or lose, if you're 11-0 going to the Michigan game, you're in the playoff. If you're 10-1 going into the Michigan game, more than likely you're in the playoff. The question is whether you're going to be in the Big Ten championship game, because that's going to be number 1 versus number 2, no more divisions. So the question is, would Oregon potentially be in the Big Ten championship game? Is Ohio State, Michigan going to be for a spot in the Big Ten championship game? And we'll see what happens with Michigan. Obviously, a lot in flux there as well. But I just think Ohio State has done the things it needed to do, taken the steps it needed to take to put itself in position to have a huge 2024, like national title level 2024. Whether they get there or not is another question. Whether Ryan Day gets over the Michigan hump is an entirely different question. But the offseason steps they've taken suggest that they will be prepared. They will have the roster to do this. So that's why I have Ohio State here. I realize I started with an 11-win team from last year, but again, we all watched that team. Against a lot of schedules, it wasn't going to be 11-2. This will be a better team than last year's team. Thank you so much for watching. Just a reminder, subscribe to this channel right here so you never miss an episode of Andy Staples On 3. And oh, by the way, watch all the other great videos on the On3 Sports YouTube channel.